was, yeah.
I have to say the surprise double visitation was worse than the double funeral.
Yeah, I missed the double visitation because I had work.
That's a story, y'all.
Not great.
Not fun for anybody.
Not great.
When people say things like, it's so sweet that they died within days of each other, it's not.
I mean, I guess in a way.
It's really,
and then in the real life way.
In the real life way, it's kind of trauma-inducing and horrifying. God. And it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Welcome to Flan-Again, a Mike Flan-Again rewatch, brought to you by the Articulate Coven. For more information on the original Anne Rice fan podcast and community, visit articulatecoven.com and find more about this show at articulatecoven.com/Flan-Again.
Hi, welcome to Flan-Again, a Mike Flan-Again rewatch podcast. We're your hosts for the fall of the House of Usher. I'm Ashley.
I'm Brat.
And we're going to talk about episode 4 of the fall of the House of Usher, The Black Cat, tonight.
Episode 4. Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So our main focus on this is obviously Napoleon in this episode.
Yeah.
His name comes from a story called The Spectacles, which I'm not familiar with, and I had to look it up. I had to Wikipedia it. So it is a story about a young man who is tricked into marrying his great-great-grandmother because he's failing eyesight.
Oh, no.
That's so weird.
Oh, no.
That's so weird.
I don't like that.
It's so weird. Yeah, for some reason, I thought his name came from the Black Cat story, but it doesn't. That story has an unnamed narrator, like a lot of the stories do. So It's got like an unnamed, unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
But this episode's based on the Black Cat story.
Yes.
Which is about the narrator in that is a raging alcoholic and loves his pets until he doesn't love his pets. And then, so his pet did something terrible. He poked its eye out and messes him up. And then he gets another cat. He burns his house down at some point. He kills his wife.
Good Lord. I haven't read this one in a while.
I hadn't either. He kills his wife and he walls the wife up into the wall of the building.
That makes sense.
And when they find her in there, they find the cat as well. The cat's alive.
In there.
And got walled up with her.
Eating her face, probably. Yeah.
Probably.
Definitely.
Cats are going to eat you. If you have cats,
they will eat you.
They will eat you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little ironic we're covering this episode because we have a kitten who kept Brat up all night last night. And
he hates me.
He
loves me and he hates me. He wants to cuddle while he simultaneously destroys me.
Cats can be monstrous.
Yeah, he sucks.
we love him. We love him.
She loves him.
We don't know. He's
fine. He's fine.
He showed up. Who knows what cats do?
I don't know.
Yeah, they are their own creatures, which we see.
It's true.
In this episode, hardcore.
Very true.
All right. So,
did you like this episode?
I do like this episode. It's not my favorite.
This is my least favorite.
Yeah,
of all the episodes.
It's not my favorite. Now, I really like this story. I think the story is bananas,
awesome.
You know,
but there's so much hopping around and setting up for everything else in this that Leo really kind of gets the short end of the stick on it.
He does. Like, we don't have any of that with Verna, like any of that, like, hey, you know, we could not go out this horrible way. We could go out a different way. But I guess he is kind of in control of his own destiny there.
A little bit of that in there, but I mean, not a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't get as much choice as, say, she gives some others opportunities.
Right. Yeah.
And the thing about that is Leo's not as awful as some of these other characters. Like, he's got a drug problem, but I mean,
right. Yeah, I mean, he's got a drug problem and a using people problem.
Yeah, he does use people very much. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's a douche. Like, they're all douches.
He's an usher, so they're all bad humans.
But he genuinely seems to care about his siblings. Like, he cares. He's really broken up when he finds out Camille's dead.
Yeah,
he's very upset about Perry. You know, like he has some humanity to him.
He does have some humanity.
He's just completely poisoned by the greed of it all.
Drugs and greed, man.
Drugs and greed. You up. Drugs and greed. So this episode kind of opens up with Leo looking for a replacement cat for the cat he has killed. Recently, a friend of ours did this move successfully.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sure did.
Which is the coolest thing that's ever happened. She wasn't replacing a dead cat. A cat ran off, but she definitely pulled the switcheroo off, y'all.
She nailed it.
Unlike in this situation, the cat she replaced the missing cat with came back. This new cat is very loving and affectionate. The old cat was kind of standoffish. In this situation, the previous cat was kind of annoying. This new cat is a murderous piece of shit.
Is an expensive cat too.
Oh yeah,
not available. She said Verna, who was working at the.
Oh yeah, Verna is our animal rescue
working
volunteer.
at the rescue. And it's like, all these cats are going to die within a week and we have to save them. And it's like, no, I need this one cat.
And I mean, he's adamant he needs a black cat. So this cat, she's like, we've already had like four applications for it. Like, people want this cat. It's a purebred. La-di-da-di-da.
He's like, you don't know who I am.
Yeah. And does that gross move. But I will say, like, I mean, people like the animals would benefit from what he's offering.
It's true.
Like, he's like, I'll pimp out your space and give you all this cool shit.
I mean, yeah, he's going to pay for all of this other stuff for this, for the pound or whatever.
Yes.
Cat rescue.
The cat rescue. Yeah. He takes a picture. That'll become important later.
Yeah,
this cat's beautiful, though, and it does look just like Pluto.
Yep, pretty black cat.
Pretty black cat. Oh, it's just the audacity of this action.
It is you gotta have a lot of guts and a lot of balls to be able to try and pull this one off.
Yeah.
It is such a let me replace your beloved creature with another, and hopefully you don't understand that it's not the same, because it's not.
No,
it's gonna have a different way about it and way of moving, and like, it's a different animal.
Yeah, it's a totally different
creature. It's still
creature.
A black cat, but
also,
it's a different creature.
It's been in a shelter. So, like,
oh, man.
Cats coming out of shelters can be real squirrely at first.
It's been in prison, man.
Yeah, it's been in prison.
It's been in prison.
It takes a little while to, like, adjust. So, like, he's setting himself up for such shit in this.
Yeah. God. But, I mean, that's what he does. That's what they all do, is throw money at it and be like, no, this is perfect. I want this cat. Don't worry about it. You don't know who I am. Let me pay for everything. Let me get all this stuff.
Yeah, there's not a problem that they will not throw money at, for sure.
No.
This one does jump around a lot.
A ton. Like, I stopped taking notes at different points because I was just like, I don't care. There's so many short scenes.
Yeah.
So many short scenes.
There are a lot of it. And it makes it not flow quite as well. I mean, the editing is still really good, but I can see that this is one of the more challenging episodes.
It's a transitional episode.
Yeah.
It's
kind of in the middle. It's like episode 4 of 8.
Yes, it is definitely transitional to set up the rest of the series, which I get, and I mean, they do a good job of it. Mm-hmm. But it does, I mean, Leo's story suffers. And I guess it's not that hard. You get everything in there of what he is doing, but it just felt like, oh man, he's such a good actor, and I wanted more out of him, but the time that he gets, man, he uses it. Yeah.
Who plays Leo? It's Raul Coley.
Yeah.
Raul Coley, who is in. So it's so weird to see him play this character, because this character is such a douche. He is the sheriff in Midnight Mass.
Yep.
I love that character.
Oh, wonderful.
It's like such a good guy, a good dad, dealing with grief, a very complex character. This character is not complex.
I love this character in that same way, though, that he just is like, he's vibrant, and he's living his life, and he doesn't care, and he's just, I mean,
he's playing his video games.
Yeah, as far as all of them, his biggest thing is the drugs. Like, he is the drug dealer for the family. Like, he is the drug dealer for everybody.
He clearly is who everybody goes to for their drugs.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying drug dealers bad, folks. I know many, and they're great. Yeah. But he's got everything.
Yeah. Anything you could want.
Too much of everything. He's a party boy. He's a video game guy. Mm-hmm. Like, it's, And
he's probably getting to an age where that's not as cute.
Oh, it's definitely not as cute.
Like,
for sure, yeah.
He's got to be at least 35,
somewhere,
40.
Somewhere in that range,
so, like, you are getting to an age where it is a little less cute to be that, like, stereotypical. Like, you expect it from Perry, but, like,
he's a party boy running around. I mean, listen, I play games and I'm in my 40s.
No, I'm not saying that's bad at all. I'm just saying it's like it starts to become kind of less of a cool look.
It is way less of a cool look. It is, that's for sure. It is for certain.
So this I feel like in the background of this episode, there's a lot of talk about how we deal with grief.
Yes.
And how we deal with, and I think that what's really funny is that I don't feel like Roderick is framing it as how we deal with grief, but how you deal with just things not quite going your way.
Absolutely. How you deal with life, how you deal with the foibles and the dips in life.
But what they're talking about are all like coping mechanisms.
Yes.
And some of them literally the stages of grief.
Absolutely.
Are literally what we're going through here. Yeah. So he talks to a little bit about denial and how effective that can be until it's not, you know, and I think that's.
And people, I did like what he said about that. He's like, people think that it works because life has a way of just solving its own problems. And that's true. Yeah. And so people will just use that as upfront. That's number one. All right, we're going to do that. And it's going to be great.
Yeah, it is. It's very interesting. Because that is true. You know, people tell you that all the time. You're like, things will work themselves out. Blah, blah, blah. And at the time, you're like, meh.
Yeah, whatever. Get out of here.
But you know, it is. Yeah, it's.
But that's this is the first time that we hear. I think this is the first time. No, the second time that we hear a noise in the basement. When Roderick and Augie are talking, and they talk about. Her for a little while.
Yeah, Madeline.
Yeah, Madeline.
She always talks about how genius she is. She's like a.
She's a certified genius. Yeah. Like she dropped out of Mensa because she was bored. Like so.
Once in a generation, you know, that kind of.
Yeah, he's like, do you want to invite her up here and get a little genius in this conversation? He's like,
oh, they should have.
Man,
we'll get there, kids. We'll get there. Yeah, but we are hearing some thudding around the basement, which is also very not Madeline.
Dude, it's so jarring to be sitting there in this old house lit by a fire talking, and there's thumps and smashing going on around in the basement.
Meanwhile, the guy whose house it is telling you how he killed his kids, and he's fucking hammered on really expensive booze. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, so Augie plays this incredibly well as far as like just kind of keeps looking over at that slightly ajar basement door of like, is she just going to come up here at some point? What are we doing? I love that.
Yeah, because it's not like the bullshit that he's feeding him about what Augie sees as bullshit about seeing the ghosts and shit in the house, you know? And this is really interesting because Augie's running real hot in this episode, I feel.
Super hot. I love him in this episode. He's awesome in this episode.
He gets very angry in this episode. Like, we see a lot of range in that actor and in this character. But I think part of it is that feeling that something is really off, is really starting to, like, his instincts are really kicking in, that, like,
he's going, something is amiss. Something is wrong here. This feels very odd. That's... It's so good. He's so good in this episode.
He is.
We'll talk about him more here in a minute.
Another thing I can think about when I'm watching this is how much of his reaction shots are him reacting to. How much of his reaction shots did they reshoot?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So how much is he reacting to what Bruce Greenwood is doing versus how much is he reacting to what Frank Langella did? Right. You know, so sometimes, and do you think maybe this episode could be an example of us seeing kind of the, like, a little bit of the, of that process?
A little bit. I think so.
But he is fantastic in this episode. I really, really like that he kind of gets to let loose and we get to see more emotion out of him. Yeah. He's less controlled. Mm-hmm. Which the situation is just, again, screwy as fuck. We have a big old family meeting, which we keep having in the boardroom. Yep. Family meetings in the boardroom seem real common with this crew.
Yeah, yep. Like, the most selfish meeting that that you'll see. Like, talking about death, and Leo's the only one that's kind of worrying about it. But at the same time, he's so selfish as well. Yeah. Everyone. What about me? What about Goldbug? What about this? What about that? It's such bullshit, man.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then Daddy pops off and he's like fucking giving out commands like a fucking general on the field.
We aren't lining up. We are building a wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like he's very harsh with that.
Very harsh. We're at battle stations and all I want to hear is, sir, yes, sir. Yeah. You know, and of course, Froderick's like, sir, yes, sir.
What a fucking spineless piece of shit, man.
The timing on him, that is so good. He's such a suck up.
I truly feel like he's the only one of the kids that's a truly, truly horrifying awful person.
He's probably the worst of them.
And we don't see it yet.
He's such a doofus.
Yeah.
Like, he acts like such a doofus, and he is fine being an idiot.
Yeah.
He's fine with that, and just because I'm living my life and this is fine, and I know how to toe the line and everything. But yeah, that behind that is very, very sinister.
It's like he's weaponizing stupidity.
100%.
You know, and then it escalates so horribly.
Well,
and
you start getting those little glimpses of it in this. You start getting little things of him starting to crack
get a little obsessive, get a little nutso. He starts doing drugs. We'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's all I could think of that meeting was everybody is so selfish.
Yeah.
Everybody is so selfish.
And can you imagine, like, anytime you need to have like a serious talk, you know, somebody in the family has cancer, something dreadful's happened. You have to do it in a fucking board meeting.
Yeah, big giant boardroom. Oh.
Like, with dad at the fucking head of the table, like some sort of warlord.
Yep. Dad and the crazy aunt down at the end, and we need you to make a statement.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, what is this bullshit? We're saddened. A monkey ripped her face off.
We saw what happened.
Yeah.
You can't have an open casket at any of these fucking funerals.
No, dude. No.
We're starting to get some, we're starting to see our team put together some clues, which I like.
Yes.
Because, again, these are supposed to be really smart people. So we get to see Verna. We see Verna at the desk. We find out it's supposed to be, that's clearly not Phil.
Yeah.
And not only that, we don't have any female security guards.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sexist. But, you know.
I mean, what would you expect out of any place that is run by these people?
Well,
I mean, come on.
For sure.
But I love this scene where they're talking about it. He's like, enhance.
Oh my God, it's so funny.
And he's like, that's not really a thing.
That's not a thing. Like, we can make it bigger, but it's not going to make it clearer.
Like, all that. I love the whole, I see it on TV all the time. That doesn't mean it's a fucking
real thing, dumbass.
That's so good.
Oh, Mark Hamill is an absolute joy in this.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I'm so pissed he didn't get nominations for
I don't know how he didn't. He's so good in this. He's just kind of like, are you all dumb?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I love him.
And a couple of episodes from now, we see him just really, really get to kill it and shine.
Yeah.
I love Mark Hamill. I always want good things for him.
Me too. He's awesome in everything that he does.
He is
so good.
He really, really is. And I think one of the reasons why he's so successful in voice work is that you don't see his face and you're not thinking Luke Skywalker all the time because you're not seeing his face. But in this, and it always surprises me when he can do this for me, because I don't think Harrison Ford has ever really been able to be not Han Solo or not Indiana Jones in my mind, no matter what I've seen him in. But this, I'm like, that is not like,
regarding Henry.
10 minutes into this. Yeah, regarding Henry. Like, good.
That's the only one I can think of.
Well, and that one where What Lies Beneath, where he fucking was the bad guy.
Even then, he came across as paranoid Han Solo.
Well, I was just so pissed. I was like, what have you done to him? Why is he does not need to play bad guys, or he needs to learn how to do it better.
He doesn't care. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care.
But yeah. I forget where I was.
I don't know either. Sorry, regarding Henry.
Henry got us off the rails. You get to hear my like unveiled hatred of the idea of Harrison Ford ever being a bad guy.
Right. Yeah.
No, I think probably like maybe 10 minutes into this, I didn't see Luke Skywalker at all.
Oh, I think age has done him as an actor on screen, has done him everything. He's a very successful voice actor, incredible voice actor. And he's a very good actor, period. But I mean, he needed to age out of that kind of Skywalker baby face of it all.
The hurdy-dur of it all.
Yeah. I mean, and man, plus the way he can use his voice, his vocal work
it's incredible.
Unmatched, man. It's so good.
Yeah, it is. He's really... it's great to see the kind of career he's been able to build and not get stuck in a rut.
I'm glad that he's in front of the camera again.
Yeah, me too.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's fun. This is a fucking treat, man. He's so fantastic.
So
they're trying to figure out if they know this lady.
Yeah, do we know this woman? We are under attack. Could it be the same person?
Could it be the same person that was at Perry's party? Mm-hmm. So we're trying to put our brains together on this finally. I feel like everybody's finally starting to put the clues together.
Yeah, they're like, all right, there's something going on.
Well, and that's true. That's where we're at too. Something's fucking going on.
Something's happening. Yeah.
Like there is this woman here that wasn't supposed to be here. She didn't work for us. That's fucked up.
Yep.
Harry's party thing was fucked up and weird in and of itself. And we were already worried about the woman who told the waitstaff to leave. So like fucked up shit's happened. Morella's burned up and has no skin, like so fucked up shit's happened. So
I'm glad they're addressing it too, because a lot of things would be like, oh, it's just so strange that all this is happening, and they just keep on going with their lives. It's like, no, man, if you are this smart and this powerful, you would throw everything you got at figuring out there's some sort of connection
especially
here.
If you've been such a dick. Like, people are going to want to
You got enemies. You know you have enemies. You know you have enemies.
Exactly. It's like you're the CEO of a medical corporation.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he is. I don't know why anyone would want to kill him.
Who knows?
Who knows?
That's weird.
Leo, we go back to Leo, and this begins our like series of cat scares with Leo. So the cat, he brings the cat home, passes the cat off as Pluto. I don't think Jules. I don't think he ever sees Jules. Never sees this cat. I don't think this cat is in this house. I don't think this cat is real at all.
No,
like this cat is not.
It was never real from the get. It wasn't real from the get, and it's implanted in there in his mind.
Yeah,
be it through the disease that the family has, or through
his drug haze,
or the drugs.
It's a combination
probably of all three
of
of those. Yeah, it's probably all of them.
Yeah, so.
Which is why he reacts the way he does, I would think.
Well, nobody else sees the cat. Like, when Froderick's there getting drugs, he doesn't see the cat either.
Right.
And he's like, what are you even talking about? Like,
what?
His reaction to that is so wild. He makes a joke about a double funeral, which we've gone to one.
Sure have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in the last year, yeah?
Yeah. 2 years. 2 years?
Yeah.
I have to say the surprise double visitation was worse than the double funeral.
Yeah, I missed the double visitation because I had work.
That's a story, y'all.
Not great.
Not fun for anybody.
Not great.
When people say things like, it's so sweet that they died within days of each other, it's not.
I mean, I guess in a way,
it's really,
and then in the real life way.
In the real life way, it's kind of trauma-inducing and horrifying, and it's a lot.
It's a lot.
So they're going to have 6 funerals, 2 funerals of 3 by the end of all of
That's
this.
That's right, yeah.
Which I feel like is too much.
That's a lot. I mean, and that'll mess with that's a lot of death in a family. And yeah, someone's coming for you. You can feel it. You know it in your bones, someone's coming for you.
Well, and I would be, I think, pissed if I died and then I just got tossed into a triple funeral. Like I didn't get my own send off.
Nope, sorry. You were not the star of the show.
We all have money. Why can't we have beautiful, elaborate funerals?
They're efficient.
They are.
They are keeping it efficient.
They gotta get rid of the trash.
Yep.
Lord.
A lot of cat scares in this. So many jump cat scares in this, which is great.
Yeah, there are. It's very, very good. This one does have a little bit more of a element to it, but it's not scary because it's just a cat.
Yeah, it's just a cat.
And that's what's messed up about it. I don't know. Roderick goes to talk to Vic, and if I skip anything you want to talk
there
about.
There was the court. They go briefly to the court. Nobody shows up, and they're like, well, Augie stands up and is like, if I was 30 minutes late, I'm pretty sure I would be in contempt of court. And the judge is like, oh, would you?
Yeah.
And then then Pim shows up and is like, sorry, everybody died. And they're like, oh, shoot. All right, let's wait, and we'll go back to Monday. Just another, I like these little tiny things to show that they get away with it.
Yeah.
They get away with it. They get away with whatever that they want. That was what was promised, and that happened.
And what was delivered.
And it's little tiny things throughout that show, yep, they are squeaky, greasy clean, man. Mm-hmm. They are, woo.
Teflon.
Yeah. And it's a very short scene, but it is the reminder of, no, they get away with everything.
Well, and it's a good reminder of disparity too between race and class too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let me just say, I think the reaction to January 6th would have been a lot different if there hadn't been white people. Storming the Capitol.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I think we can all acknowledge that not everyone gets treated the same in this world.
No,
especially by persons of authority.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. They do a good job of reminding us of that several times.
Just you get a little snippet of that almost in every single episode, I believe, though.
Yeah. And I think
they
that
get away with it.
Sometimes it's Verna that causes it, because we get her and this particular character she's playing as the sick woman with Victorine. I think is a really good example of like Victorine is so sweet with her and so gentle with her, so encouraging with her, and she's lying to her, screwing her over, and going to get this woman killed. You know, like it's so interesting. But it is one of those things that this character, this version of her is poor, sick, in need of help, in need of improved quality of life.
Well, this is the first time that Roderick goes and calls Vic on, hey, what's going on? What the
fuck happened in there? That's the beginning of the scene is her and Roderick. And he's like, what happened? Those were your fucking monkeys.
Yeah, those were your monkeys. What is going on? Why was she here? You know, why is Camille there? Because she was onto something. It was either about you or it was about the study.
Or about your study.
And calls her out on it. Is like, just tell me. Just tell me. I'm going to find out anyway.
When he just straight up asks her basically if it's her. Is it you? Mole? Is it you?
And he does it in a really good way of just like kind of that, I'm your dad and I'm not going to be mad. Just tell me if it's you.
Yeah, he's like, he gives her an out with it. He's like, yeah, I can see it. I could see this just you trying to get one up on the siblings and it just got out of hand.
It got out of hand and things didn't work out. And of course, Vic is like, no, man, I don't know what she was doing. I don't know what she was going to be. And then finally concedes it's probably about the chimpanzees. There was something going on there, to which Roderick is like, I had to we have a nature preserve built so we can cover this shit up. Yeah. I mean, the amount of layers that they are putting on there to cover up their horse shit is so...
All of it. And then she puts the cherry on top of the shit sundae of lies that says, and we're ready for human trial.
Absolutely. Push it. Why not? Let's go.
Which they are not.
Yep.
And the thing is, too, is that the surgeon, her lady friend, has no idea
blissfully ignorant
that any of this is happening.
Nope.
Like, she doesn't know that she's pulled this woman in. She doesn't know she's telling him that they're ready for the human trials because she knows that they're not ready. And she's a person of integrity.
That's right. Yep.
And is going to have a problem.
Reputable.
Like, that's the thing about, it's weird the people that these douchebags choose for partners, because they're all generally good people.
Yeah. Sweethearts.
Like nice people that are just collateral damage in the worst way possible, you know?
Yeah.
And like this poor sweet, what's his face? That's with Leo. What is his name? I have it written down here somewhere. Handy. Poor sweet Leo's boyfriend, whose name I can't remember now.
Yep.
Jules. Like, poor Jules. He even tells him, I'm really worried about you, about your drug use. Like, he cares about him. He loves him. Like, he doesn't know that he's getting blowjobs from girls that he's hiding out on the balcony.
No. I mean, I bet he does. I bet that part of him knows that
Leo does seem to be a guy who thinks a blowjob will fix any problem he has.
Yes, he does. He was like, well, that's the fallback too.
Yeah, I can't sleep.
Can't sleep. Help me out.
I want to get past this level.
I'm trying to get good at the game. Help me out. Yep. I mean, you can't fault him for that, but at the same time, there are other ways of handling things.
There might be more emotionally intelligent approaches.
Probably so.
Maybe.
Probably.
I don't know.
There's so much setting up of the rest of the show between that Vic and Roderick scene, and then with Verna and Vic talking about the drugs, which is a great scene. The two of them sitting back across from one another, sitting there talking, and Verna starts talking about, well, did you know they do drug trials in like all these places? And it's
people are poor and don't know.
They don't know, and they're getting used and taken advantage of.
And I think they do that on purpose so that these people are so desperate for help. They just don't know.
Yep. And Victorine is like, well, there's the other side of that sword as well. They wouldn't be able to afford any of this. And this is a gift that is being given to them. And it's a blah, blah.
It reminded me of that. Oh, God, that fucking episode of West Wing. That's so good. Where they're talking. It's like they're having a huge meeting with African nations and drug companies trying to figure out how to get AIDS drugs to people who are dying. And one of the things they said is that it doesn't, even if we can get all the medication to the people, there's no guarantee it will be effective because they have to be taken at specific times of the day. And these people don't have wristwatches.
It's such a thunk kind of moment. But this is the exact same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Them going back, and the way that Verna plays off of their conscience is like trying to.
Yes, she's trying
to scratch their brain a little bit to make them go, maybe this is a bad idea. Maybe what I'm doing is a bad plan. And they all are so, nope. They just have not been told no. And
yeah, that is it.
That,
like, you've never been punished in your life.
Yeah, you haven't been punished properly. And it's...
Well, and again, this whole setup is that they're not going to ever face consequences.
Right.
For anything.
Yes,
so
and they shouldn't.
They're not. Mm-mm. They don't think that they will.
They never have. So why would they? I mean... that's just what they are. They don't face any consequences at all. But watching Verna play off of all of them, really trying to
give them a chance.
What do you think about this? But what about this? But what about this? And they just...
It's just so gross with Victorine because of how sweet both of them are. Like, both of them are like very kind.
Yeah.
Like, it feels worse. It feels more manipulative than like it being, than it just being a fucking sex party.
Yeah.
This is a woman's like health and heart and well-being. And
this is just a life that you're willing to throw away for your research. And granted, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
It has to, but it doesn't mean it's not nefarious. And it doesn't mean that it's not cold-blooded.
Well, and you're seeing it here on a one-to-one situation as opposed to like, it's not a nameless face. It's not someone that overdosed because of Ligadone. You know, it's not one of those people. It's a woman. You had to pick this person for this.
This is a lot of release forms.
A lot of waivers.
A lot of waivers on this one. She says she signs 12 different papers.
Yeah. And isn't reading them.
Isn't reading them on. I mean, it's the whole setup for it is so nice to just be like, we gave her every opportunity. It's so gross.
Yeah. Yeah. And like this whole next this is us talking about Leo getting shortchanged. Like, this whole next section is all set up.
Yes.
Like, boom, boom, boom. It's all the next set of scenes, all of it. And it's a lot of scenes. It's a lot of stuff.
It's a ton of 3-minute scenes.
Yeah. We get a ton of information. Pim and Freddie meet up. He's got Morella's burner phone found in her bag. I paid attention to like how we got the phone. It was in her bag, so we know their shit wasn't destroyed when the accident happened.
Had to have been. It was in the locker room.
So that answered our question. It was in the locker room.
It was in the locker room.
That answered our question about that. So they found the burner phone, and he's like, "I can't get into it. Her passwords aren't working." And he's like, "You have." Freddie's like, you have our passwords?
You have our passwords? I have all your passwords. Yeah. Okay, great. And he just goes, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
He's such a dipshit.
So, but they haven't been able to get into this phone.
And this is what you start seeing the unraveling of them. And he's like, it's not hers. It's not like denial. He denies it very hard and is like, no, there's no way. It's not hers. Like, no. And he's will you try a couple codes? And so he tries 2 of them and is like, it's not hers. I don't know what to tell. He's like, I need to see what's on the phone.
The good on this phone, I know it. Well,
and that plants it even deeper in his head. And he's like, will you just try for me? All right. And that becomes the splinter in his mind about it. And he cannot stop thinking about it.
That combined with, where's her
wing? Yeah,
where's her wedding ring?
Where's her wedding ring? That's the first time he mentions that. That's like, hey, where's her wedding ring? We found that, and Pim just brushes that aside, because he's put 2 and 2 together. Like,
no,
like this, his wife went to this sex party.
Well, and he knows where she was in proximity to Perry.
Yeah, I mean,
physically, she was close to Perry in that room.
I mean, everybody was close to everybody in that room. Oh, yeah, they all souped it up.
Ribs out.
Yep.
We get to see a little glimpse in a group text between Roderick, Pim, and Madeline. And we get the enhanced picture.
Yes, the enhanced version
of Verna at the security desk at Rue. And then everybody kind of has a flash of like,
oh shit,
I recognize her.
And nobody says anything about it though. They all, you can see it in their face of like, No, we gotta find this woman. We gotta
out.
find this woman. We can get our way out of this. We can buy our way out of this.
So Madeline has her driver take her out
to the bar.
To very not a good part of town.
Bad part of town. Lots of graffiti.
Yeah, lots of graffiti.
Got the homeless camp going on in the background. Boarded up buildings everywhere.
And we go to the location that we know. I don't know if we knew at the time that it was the bar, but we know it's the bar that they were at. It's boarded up, just like it was the last time she saw it.
Yep.
Which is a little bit of a spoiler, but
with the raven, there's raven graffiti up over the top of it, and a raven.
And then a raven shows up right above the fucking that. It's,
eyeballing Madeline, and she's eyeballing it back. It's like, oh.
Yes.
Coming home to roost.
And then Roddy goes to the guilty basement.
Yep, go to the guilty basement to go and think, and he hears the little tinkle of the bells.
Jingle, jingle, jangle.
Yep, looking at the wall. What? Why is he looking at the wall? The jingly jangles of it all.
Yeah. The next scene is the scene we've kind of already talked about with Vic and Verna. Victorine does explain a little bit about how this heart mesh works.
Yes,
which
sounds
fucking crazy awesome.
I mean, if it was an actual thing, it would save everybody's life, and it would just kind of keep pumping your heart forever if you had a bad heart. But I mean, that's the thing is then you're reaching in that, oh God, it's unnatural, and it's going to keep you alive for your heart will keep beating, but what about the rest of you is going to oh my God.
And, I mean, from Jump Street, if you didn't think that Victorine's story was straight up setting you up for the Telltale Heart,
you were wrong.
You were dumb. You're dumb, or you've never read Poe.
Exactly.
And I'll give you've never read Poe respect.
Absolutely, for sure.
But if you've read Poe and you didn't see that coming.
Well, you knew they were doing Telltale Heart. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that one.
You're going to see Telltale Heart. You're going to see Pit the Pendulum. You're going to see the Raven.
Yeah, exactly. They're hitting the highlights for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, people would be pissed if you didn't.
Of course. No, you have to put those in there. They're the highlights.
The Telltale Heart and the Cask of Amontillado are two of my probably top 10 short stories, or in my top 10 short stories of all time. I love them both so much. The Cask of Amontillado to me is like the best revenge story.
That's so good.
And I love any version of it. You want it like Stephen King wrote an amazing version of it called Dolan's Cadillac. That is such a good story. It's so fun.
The Simpsons version of Telltale Heart with Lisa as the person who buries the heart is so good. That's all I can hear. The beating of that hideous heart. Like Lisa screaming in the top of her.
Treehouse of Terror?
Yeah. It's one of the Treehouse.
We need to look that up. I want to see that.
It's great. It's really good. I think they do an entire Poe thing, like because Bart is the Raven. It's so good. Look that one up. It's a lot of fun.
My mom got cataract surgery recently, and I told her that I really appreciated doing that because I cannot abide a milky eye.
No, will not have that milky eye.
That story, anytime I see a person with a cataract, a milky eye, I think to myself, well, you're going to end up buried up under somebody's floorboards.
Yeah, brother, go get that taken care of.
Oh,
scrape them eyeballs.
Sorry, that's a weird thing, but it's 100% from that story.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we go back on track. We go to Freddie and Lenore, where Freddie's obsessing over the phone. She's like, you haven't eaten.
Yeah, you haven't eaten in a couple of days.
You haven't eaten in a couple of days. She doesn't think he's sleeping. He's like talking to her about, you kids, you teenagers, like he's trying to be the cool dad. You teenagers, you cool kids, you do a lot of hacking.
And you're all into hacking. Teens can hack phones and stuff. Like, no, that's hackers, Dad.
No, I'm not a hacker.
That's hackers, Dad.
She's like, we use passcodes, we use fingerprints, or our face.
Yeah.
And that's foreshadowing for some real shitty things that we're going to get to see Freddie do.
Man, and he's still obsessed over that thing. And he's like, well, and Lenore gives him that little bit of like, well, it is on factory settings, like that picture, Amii's picture of cakes.
Yeah.
And that's factory settings. And so he's like,
gives her a little hope that maybe I'm right.
Maybe it's not her phone. I didn't think it was her phone. Maybe it's not her phone.
Yeah. Nothing he's tried's worked to get into it. Nope. None of the dates, none of the whatevers. Mm-mm. He's clearly been obsessing over it, not eating.
Mm-mm. Yeah. So it's fun to watch him kind of start that little bit of spiral down.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is. Because it gets fucking crazy. He goes fucking crazy. And I don't think it's just the cocaine. I think he's just a bad guy.
No.
We go to Jules and Leo. This is where the sleepy time blowjob.
Sleepy time. He's like, I can't sleep. I've taken enough of those yellow pills that I should be in a coma for 2 days. Yeah. And he's like, anything I can do to help? He's like, now you mention it. Pew-pew. So that they start getting into that, and he's like, all right. And he's having the most uncomfortable looking blowjob ever. He can't get comfortable, and he's looking over, and there's that cat's eyes shining in the darkness at you, which would be distracting.
Disheartening.
That would be distracting. Just a couple of glowing eyes in the darkness watching that whole thing. Yeah. Very odd. Still trying to get comfortable, reaches back into the thing and is like, blah, starts screaming and freaks out.
Poor Jules gets a knee to the nose.
Yeah, knees him right in the face. And his hand's covered in blood. And he's like, oh, God, because there's a gutted rat.
It's so big, it looks like a possum.
Yeah, it's a big rat.
It's a, New York City rat.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
That's a big guy.
That is a big, beefy rat underneath thing. And once again, Jules doesn't see it. And he's just like, I'm throwing away these sheets. I'm wrapping it up. And just wraps everything up. Is going to throw it away. I'm going to burn this place to the ground or whatever.
Yeah. And a big overreaction to a dead rat. But I don't want a dead rat in my bed.
I mean, I would be, like blood all over your hand.
Last time you ended up covered in blood, you had killed your cat.
You killed your cat. So... yeah, what's going on this time? That's understandable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lord. Yeah. We get into, we go back to Roderick and Augie. They're talking about denial, displacement, and projection. Mm-hmm. And then sublimation. Yeah. I was listening to a podcast today that talked about sublimation, and I was like, what? Because I literally just finished my rewatch of this episode. And they were talking about how it is like a healthy coping mechanism.
Absolutely. Put your energy towards something constructive.
Yeah. And how a lot of, I was obviously listening to some horrifying true crime shit.
Absolutely. Sure.
But they're talking about how frequently, survivors of events and things like that will start, foundations and things like that to pour their energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Something that you feel like you're being constructive.
Yeah. Denial being, no, it's not happening. Displacement and projection. Projection is such a common and easy thing to fall into, where you're just like, I can't be mad about this, so I'm going to be mad at you about something unrelated.
About something completely different. Yep.
And then we get Leo just fucking falling from the sky.
Boom! And it's somebody underscore K.13 posted on our last
look at you.
On our last Usher thing. He said, did you notice the kids always show up to scare him when he's about to dismiss or downplay his role in the mess?
Ooh!
And I read that before I did the rewatch of this, and I was like, that's 100% right.
Oh, that is 100% correct.
He's doing that displacement, and he's putting it somewhere else, and the ghost of that skapow lands right there and turns his jacked up face towards him.
Oh, that is really right. He's trying to it's anytime he's minimizing his role in it.
Yeah. It's like, no.
Or even or implying that he would have handled it better than they would have.
Absolutely. Yes.
Implying oh well, I can't.
I wish they would have got this from me.
Yeah.
They should have got this part
from me.
Yeah. None of them picked it up, but they should have got this from me. It's one of my best traits. Falls down there and he starts screaming.
I was talking.
Yeah.
I was talking.
And I wrote down the line that Augie says to him. He's like, do not raise your voice to me. Do not raise your voice to me. I will knock your goddamn lights out. And that actor is big. That is a big dude. And he says that with such gusto that is
it's scary.
That is intimidating. And he means it. He's like, we are in this dark house and I could pummel you to death if I really wanted to. Do not fucking yell at me. I am
not here for your abuse, dude. I'm not gonna play whatever role you're trying to force me into in your fucking fucked up little play that you're playing. I'm not doing it.
I will knock your goddamn lights out. Gets up in his face and and Roderick is like, oh, you're right. It's like, oh man, that just about got a beating.
Yeah. And he tells him, as he's trying to de-escalate, he tells him, I respect you. I always have.
Yes. Yep.
And and I think that's an important statement because it is true. I think it is true.
I think that it's always at very least, worthy adversary.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, at very, very least.
100%. And everybody wants that. Somebody like this guy definitely wants that.
Of course, you need something like that to make you better, move you
sometimes an arch nemesis is fun to have.
I mean, I'm not a fan, but sometimes it will put your best foot forward. It'll make you work harder.
We get they talk about the day we met.
Mm-hmm. You remember the day we met? Yeah. Yep.
Which leads us to a flashback.
Good flashback to the day they met.
Shocking.
Yep. And Augie's there trying to, like, I'm talking to people from Fortunato, and I'm trying to get, I just want to ask you some questions. I'm not after you.
Yeah.
And Roderick's wife is like, come in.
Yeah, come on in.
Come on in. I'm holding a baby. Come on in.
Let's have some tea.
Just the better human being than anybody else that we see in this entire deal.
Yeah.
Very an interesting discussion ensues after that. Very cool of them.
When she's the one that speaks up and says, because like Roderick's listening and taking everything in.
He's playing the game.
He's not going to admit to anything. He doesn't want to give away his hand yet. He needs to figure out what's happening and what his best move is. Mm-hmm. Because this guy said, you're the 20th door I've knocked on of 26.
Of 26, yeah.
And I've gotten the door slammed in my face every time, but now, so here we are.
So here it is.
But Annabelle's the one that speaks up and says, that's not your signature. That's not his signature.
That's not his. And he's like, no, we don't know that. No. And she keeps like, but it's not your signature. It's not. She says it like 3-4 times. Yeah. And he's like, no, I don't remember this.
I can't recall.
I can't recall. Well, a lot of people can't recall.
Yeah.
What is going on down there? Fortunato, you're all getting concussions.
Oh, God, yeah.
I love that line. It was so good.
Well, and then he just reads the room for filth. Like, he's like, here's what's happening in your house.
Yeah.
You've got a sick kid.
You got a sick kid. All that sticky honey, it's all over the floor. It's all of this. You're almost out. Yeah. So you're using that natural stuff for him. Both of you were up all night.
You got elderberry. I see an empty teacup on the sink, so I can tell you were up all night, judging by the number of cups. You guys were taking turns, doing it in shifts, which is also like the first indication of any sort of like parenting that Roderick might be involved doing it. Yeah. I mean, we don't know for sure it happened, but it's the first like idea that he might be involved somewhat.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing, is that he is not inherently a bad guy at this point. He is trying to climb the business ladder and is trying to do whatever. Hence why he's still poor. Because he's not a bad guy.
Right. And he and Madeline both have some real fucked up ideas about what they're owed in this world.
Yes. Yeah.
But their childhood was really fucked up.
Oh, dude, I can
understand it, you know? Yeah. He says, I love this line, can't afford to say the wrong thing, even harder to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like when you're down and you're out of luck and you're trying to figure out, like, you're surviving, you're in survival mode, and he's acknowledging that, like, it's okay that that's where you are.
That's right. Yes, but I get really it. I'm there too.
Just like Verna, I'm giving you the chance to do the right thing.
Listen, we're in the same boat. We both have bosses that we answer to. You know, it's so good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The next thing we see is Roddy going to Rufus to talk to the boss man.
Of course. Tell him what the whole deal is.
Yeah, this is what happened. Why is my name on these? Why is my signature on these forms?
Cuts him off. Keeps cutting him off. Every time he asks, he's like, hey, no, we're doing let me tell you a little something about this. And he keeps deflecting and all of that. And it really is an interesting fight for kind of Roderick's soul. Yeah. Of like, you forged my signature, man. This is bullshit. Like, I am now implicated in all of this, and I'm kind of fucked.
He's like, wait. Are you on the team?
Are you on the team?
Are you on the team?
Are you on our team? And we have the callback to where he got
the same fucking speech that Roderick gives his kids in the boardroom.
Yep. We got to form a wall, and everybody at battle stations, and sir, yes, sir.
So once you've seen this scene, it's really, there's something that happens a couple of episodes ago. I can't remember if it was in the second or third one, where he's speaking almost with the exact cadence.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Of Rufus. And Rufus, you see him speaking almost with the exact cadence that you see Longstreet. What's his face? I'm using the actor's name. Their dad. So you're seeing the same, you're seeing that same, like, literally the same vocal cadence, the same, like, it's so weird. It's such a cool choice.
It does feel unnatural, them saying it, because it does come across as like, well, that's a little out of character, because it is out of character. It's somebody else has said that to him. And then this scene is so formative for the rest of his time, it's so wonderful. And he's like, you know what kind of car I drive?
Oh, it's so scummy. Like,
Rebby, hey, you're in the officers club now. And
when he says, all this that happened with your signature, this clerical error, all of that happened before you were my buddy. So,
this was old.
So that's also, this asshole was framing a guy in the mailroom.
Yep, and got caught.
And got fucking busted. And he also makes a point to say if this is correct, these forms, which are stolen forms, like, oh, well, get this. That asshole had to steal these forms from us to even try to prove it.
Exactly. Yep. He committed a crime already. So, playing the whole thing. And I think Roderick says, sir, yes, sir, like 3 times.
Yeah, he does.
Or something like that.
It's
in there.
Fucking gross. He says, it says something about a house can't be divided against itself, which is such a good call.
Yes. Oh,
the literal story followed the House of Usher. At the end, the house splits in half.
Yes.
And so, like, that's such a cool little.
That's a great line.
There.
Great line.
But he's like, as long as you remember what team you're on, motherfucker, you're gonna be fine.
That's right.
I'm gonna take care of you.
I'm gonna take care of you, baby.
You're gonna have your own Ferrari one day.
Yeah. You play your cards right, and it's always not everything's gonna be fine. I got you right now. It's no. You play your cards right. You work down the line, things are going to work out for you. Always.
Yeah.
Always the bait and switch, man.
Yeah.
Always.
And then we get flash over to Roddy, Annabelle, and Madeline again, talking about how his meeting went. And Madeline is fucking
I didn't notice
fierce.
Madeline. I didn't notice her at the very beginning of the scene. I forgot that she was in this scene until she spoke up. And now they just made you eat shit.
Oh, I love it. That's you ate a spoonful of their own shit and smiled. She said, she said something about, you can't, like, they're never going to respect you. Like, you can't eat someone's shit and that they're going to respect you. It's just nature.
Yeah. It's just nature. And your wife is right. Your wife's right. They'll never respect you there. And you're right, because you can't go anywhere else because they won't trust you.
Yeah. And she's like, we're losing our birthright. And this is where you realize that, like, this is what I mentioned before. Like, they've got some really squirrely kind of ideas about what this company should be to them, what they are owed, what they deserve.
Madeline does for sure.
Yeah. And it's all twisted in power and control. And this is even before, like, anyway. Spoiler alert.
Great. It's a great scene, and you see.
But can't quit. His wife's like, you can't quit, but you can't stay quiet either. Like there's not a.
Yeah, you've got to do something. There's no good choice.
To talk, you got to work with Augie.
Yeah, she's like, I'll get a job, and
he's such a dick.
And this is the first time you see him kind of pop off.
Be mean to her.
Being mean to her. He's like, oh, you're gonna get a degree. And she's like, whoa, hey.
Yeah.
And he does, like, you're right, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But it is the first time you see him kind of being...
like, treating her as less than.
Treating her less than. That's right.
Like, you're not as good as we are.
Exactly. You're not as good. You're not as smart.
You're not as
smart. Let the adults talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Madeline is pissed in this scene. I love it. She tells him, you just gonna keep eating that shit.
Eating that shit. It's going to be your favorite thing.
And then you're going to call Augie. Yeah, like, it's your favorite thing.
Yeah.
And then you're going to call August Dupont.
Yeah, we're going to call August Dupont, and you're going to be his best friend.
Best friend.
It's so sinister. It's so sinister and so manipulative the way she does.
But it all feels like, okay, we're all on the same page. Like, we're gonna work with Augie. We're gonna expose Fortunato.
Yeah.
We're gonna expose what's happening at Fortunato. We just have to figure out the best way to go about it.
That's right.
We got to work hard to keep ourselves safe and make sure that we're gonna come out ahead.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of this.
That's right.
Is figuring it out and coming out smelling like a rose. If
absolutely, yeah.
Fall backwards and shit and come out smelling like a rose.
Smelling like a rose.
Yeah. Yeah. So we get back to Jules and Leo, right?
Yeah, it's over to Jules and Leo's place. And
this is where Jules is like, you're off your game, man.
Yeah,
I knew what I signed up for, but, like, I don't think you can handle the amount of drugs.
I'm worried about you. Yeah, I'm just as your partner, I am worried about you, and somebody needs to say to him anyway. And it is and he's like, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, maybe you're right. And then Jules takes off.
Freddie shows up, all out of breath.
Yeah, of course, sweaty Freddie. Yep.
If you didn't remember, he's afraid of elevators, which is the funniest thing.
And it's his first time in this apartment. He's like, "Wow, looks like a modern brewery."
Yeah, he's like, "I haven't been here. I was at the place that looks like a treehouse."
Yeah, the treehouse themed one.
So, and we get the vibe that Leo is going to change out apartments as he changes out partners.
Yep.
You know, like he's like, this place has pretty much run its course. My guy just fired himself.
He just realizing it. He's dead on his feet and he doesn't even know it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he just busts out, "I was hoping for some drugs.
I came here for some drugs. Drugs, please." And yeah.
It's like when people know that you're the only one that always has weed.
That's right. Yeah. And it's like, "Hey, man.
Can I come over and hang out for a little while?"
Shut up.
Like, that's definitely the vibe.
They're sitting there talking, and one of my favorite lines Leo has is like, "Oh, well, because he was at Perry's orgies." "Oh, don't say that."
Oh yeah.
And it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Is it Perry's cuddle puddle?" That's not better.
So funny. It's not better, especially considering the actual puddle.
Yes, that's like
out.
the way he's.
I also like Freddie has a line. He's like, "Maury, she's melted, you know?"
Yeah, she's melted, you know. And we're just, I'm going through a rough time.
Oh, it's so
like,
funny.
"All right,
I just need something to pick me up. I'm not sleeping.
I'm not going to hit you with anything hard. Here's a little standby. Here's a big fucking sack of cocaine.
Just a bump or two. Like, don't go crazy.
Don't bump or two today just to even you out until you're okay." And he's looking through. He hears something in his suits, and he looks through, and the cat's sitting there. And then the cat scratches his
actual eyeball.
Fucking eyeball, like across the cornea, eyeball sliced. He screams and is like, "Get that goddamn thing!" And Froderick's like, I don't. He's a beautiful yes and man. He's like, okay. I mean, you probably should wash that out.
Yeah. Was it your eye?
Where's your eye?
Oh,
I'm just gonna take these drugs and go. He's just cursing up a storm in there.
Oh, he's threatening
to kill this cat. Yeah,
and this eye thing is pretty gruesome. Like,
it's gnarly,
especially if you have eye things. Like, you're like, not eye.
But it's setting it up. It's setting up. This is an episode about eye things.
Yes,
there are some eye.
It's in the story.
It is in the story. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You had your spoiler alert ahead of time,
That's
kids.
Right. But yeah, his eye looks really bad. The whatever job they did as far as CGI or whatever,
a little sliver
you can
there.
see it looks really gruesome. It's great,
and especially if a cat's been annoying you lately and attacking you can really relate to the pain, right, Brat?
Listen, I don't want to kill any creature.
We get one glimpse into Tammy this episode. Not very much Tammy. We see her in the family board meeting earlier. She's watching Bill's live feed, and she sees Candy.
Old Candy shows up in the background.
Candy's in the background. And she gets a jealous bunch.
Yeah. And the live stream is hilarious.
Oh, it is. It's very.
The live stream is so dumb. It's such a great parody of.
We built the city is the music that they chose for that.
Yeah,
and it's so fucking funny.
It's perfect. We built this body, and he's just wearing.
We built this body on something.
So it's heart and soul.
I
know it's soul. I think it's heart and soul.
So funny.
It's ridiculous and. She's on the treadmill and stops doing the treadmill so we can make sure that
walking pad. She's mad.
That's
she's
right.
Mad.
Mm-hmm. All furious about things.
This is really, and again, this is setting up Tammy's episode in a couple of episodes. Yep. She's gonna go. She's just not so jealous.
Yes,
is what's gonna start.
That's that, which is weird.
Yeah, well, and
just their whole arrangement
is so strange.
Very strange.
But they have very specific rules. I mean, it's like
that's right. You got it.
If you have a different arrangement, you need to have good rules.
Absolutely, got good communication, good back and forth.
Yeah, it's very important. We get to back to Leo. He's found another dead bird.
Leo, I like that they they're showing Leo as. He is a gamer.
Yeah, he's on his computer.
He's got trip monitors and he's on his computer doing things. And then it's like, what the hell?
And again, we built the city.
Yeah, we built the city. It's going on and he's gunning people down in the game. And then he's like, what the hell is that behind me? Oh, it's a dead bird. God damn it. And he walks over to put his slippers on. He's like, what the hell is that? It's a skinned mouse. What the F is going on? There's so many dead creatures.
So many dead creatures. Eventually, he calls Verna to come get this fucking cat.
Yeah, come get this cat.
And he reveals a bathtub full of animal carcasses.
Just carcass layers, like 10, 15, something like that. There's a ton.
I never had a cat that liked to hunt. Really? Like, I've never had a cat that really did that. But my roommate, Jessica, had a cat who liked to catch mice.
Yeah.
And he would put them in her shoes.
Well, it's a gift.
And she would not find them sometimes for quite a while.
Sure. Yeah.
What?
Man. I did like Verna's collar in this.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a little bell hanging off her little choker
She's
collar.
wearing it, and every time we see her, this character too.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to pay attention if it was the bell or if it was like the P for Pluto.
No, it's that little silver. It's a little
bell.
Silver bell.
Little bell.
Little silver bell.
Bathtub. That bathtub is so nice.
Oh, baby.
I look at that bathtub and I'm like, get those dead things out of there. So
Absolutely. I need to take a bath. Yeah. It's a nice bathtub.
So she tells him that the cat's in the wall.
Well,
and we get this great apex predators.
Yes, this monologue of her, and she's stalking him like a cat.
Yeah.
Walking behind him and just focused on the back of his head and just watching him. Once again, her work, Carla's work in that
she's so fantastic.
So wonderful. She did her physical warm-ups for this one. And she was there just talking about, it's in the wall.
Yeah. And just planting that seed is going to really fuck him up.
Absolutely. I mean, it's
because he's paranoid, he's on drugs, he's all fucking wired out.
He's hurt. He's
angry.
He's pissed off. He's set up to fail. He's set up for the big fall. And
The cat grabs his neck, like
jumps past Verna, grabs onto his neck, and that scene had to have been so much fun to try and play. Hold on to this stuffed cat and thrash around because he's just thrashing. And when he pulls it away, there's so much clawing at his neck. It's like, oh God, did he?
Well, so here's the thing:
artery?
that cat didn't exist. He did that to himself.
He did that to himself.
Oh!
Well, he grabs the cat off of there and crushes its head, and its right eyeball pops out of its thing, and he throws the cat, and the cat's walking away.
And then we see Verna,
eyeball hanging out, and it's like, meow. One thing that we should mention is that when she was talking about that they're apex predators, he's listening to the wall, and she walks up and licks the back of his ear. This is like, and he stands up like, what the fuck? And she's way far away.
Yeah.
It's such a,
She has a great line too in there. I mean, that whole speech is fantastic.
Wonderful.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's a really great, like here's some cool shit about cats too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the line, they're predators because they're deficient.
Yeah, they're deficient. So they're predators.
Just a story of the House of Usher.
And could give you a insight to her as well, to what Verna actually is like, I kind of need this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the deal, and I kind of need this. It applies to everyone. It's great.
Yeah.
So he starts losing it.
Just destroying the apartment.
With
Thor's hammer.
Yep, runs over there. I can get whatever. I can get new walls. I can get this. I can get another Hemsworth to bring me another hammer and just start smashing through the walls.
Which I think must have been so satisfying too.
Oh, man.
Again, like really fun scenes to get to act.
Yeah, just pounding through the drywall there. So good.
There's something hilarious about using Mjolnir to like bust through your drywall.
Yeah. What a hilarious thing to use.
Oh. So we see Freddy all coked up, and he's trying to. This is where you're seeing the links that he's willing to go to, because this is not good for her. But he unfurls her finger and tries to use her finger. Like, she doesn't have fingerprints.
She's melted, bro.
She's melted.
Come on, man. Yep. But he goes through all of it.
Yeah, it doesn't
goes
work.
To the fingerprint.
Then he's like,
does the most awkward on her face ever. It's like, you're a fucking idiot. And the way he does coke, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, just off your wrist. Like, I'm not a coke addict.
Use the spoon that God gave you.
That's all I could think of. Use the spoon that God gave you.
God gave you. Someone once said that to me.
Yep.
And I'll never forget it.
Nope, because it's perfect.
It's good advice.
But I thought that too, because I was like, that's so inefficient. That's such a weird, awkward, inefficient way. Granted, like I said, I don't do coke, but it was like, that just feels like there's better ways.
No, we're gentle potty.
But it is that moving him towards, I'm getting a little more mad.
Yeah. And
he's not eating, he's not sleeping, and now he's on drugs.
Doing more coke than his brother told him to do.
Yep, doing a lot of coke. Doing a lot of coke. So he's starting to lose it. You start seeing that, him going down that path.
Oh, man. We still have quite a bit to cover. This really does jump around.
Dude, there's so much jumping around, man. There's so much jumping around.
Tammy confronts Bill about candy. He's totally clueless. He apologizes. This is where we find out, though, first time, Tammy's not sleeping.
Tammy's not sleeping either. Yes.
None of these Usher kids are sleeping right now.
Well, everybody's dying. I would think you wouldn't be getting much sleep either. And everybody's got something big on the horizon that's coming up very close.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons that you wouldn't be sleeping. But I mean, it's particular with her that she's not sleeping, and that old Bill is like, I'm sorry, I didn't notice that it was her.
I would have,
because it wasn't her. It was for, it's so good to just sow those seeds in there.
Fuckery. Like, and Tammy's story is so fantastic, and the story it's based on is really cool too, because it's all about a doppelganger.
Yes, yeah.
And that it's just it's fantastic. Yeah. It's so good. We get a scene with Roddy and Juno, kind of, and I suspect this is the problem scene with Frank Langella.
Probably so,
because it involves touching her on her leg, which the actress has an amputated leg.
Yeah, has an amputated leg.
It involved.
It's very sexual.
Her.
It's a sexual scene.
I'm just guessing that's probably one of the problem scenes that they had an issue with.
Probably so, but I gotta tell you, fanciest prosthetic leg I've ever seen.
Oh, really bedazzled.
It was bedazzled like that.
It made me think my friend Melly would have. That's if Melly had a prosthetic leg, it would be like that.
Well, it looks kind of like the bedazzlement on the bottle.
Yeah. Oh,
like it kind of is in that same kind of crusted vein.
Nice. I did not catch that. That's fantastic. Yeah. She wants to.
She's trying to get his mind off of things.
Yeah, and she wants to not take as much Ligadone, maybe.
Yeah. She's trying to get. Yeah, I'm like, hey, I'm trying to think maybe take this down. It's like, no.
You're good. You're my most perfect. You're my most beautiful, perfect proof.
And the time he takes in between perfect and proof in that is gross. You're my most perfect. And he could have ended it there, and it would have been a very sweet thing. And then 3 to 5 seconds later, proof. He says it's just because he's not going to lie. I mean,
he really doesn't lie.
He's not much of a liar.
I mean, he does lie some.
There's some lying.
We'll see.
But yeah, we'll see.
But he has a freak out because he sees Perry.
Yeah, this is like his real first big hallucination
of his dead kids.
Yes. It is a bad one. Yeah. Like, this is a really bad one.
He gets up in his face.
Your melted kid is holding on to your wife, and you start losing it, and she starts screaming because she doesn't know what the hell's going on, and he gets right up in his face. That's just, woo. Yeah. I mean, that would scare the shit out of anybody.
Yeah, fuck that. Juno proves herself to be the smartest person in the room because she calls Madeline.
Sure does. Like, I'm calling Madeline.
And that's where Madeline finds out that he has Caddyshail.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And same as mom. He says same as mom. He says that twice. Same as mom.
Don't say that.
And she's like, you got 5 years. He's like, it's pretty advanced. So like they both really know this disease inside and out. I assume they tried to learn as much about it after
being in the medical field. I would think we need to get some things.
And just like you want to know, like if your parent dies from something, you kind of want to know,
like
the ins and outs of that, or somebody you care about dies. You want to know the ins and outs of like what that entails, and like how her like the side effects and how the effects affected you, and like I mean that's something you should probably work out in therapy.
Absolutely.
Maybe our Usher should have tried that.
No, that's not for them. They have too much money.
But they both think this heart implant might be able to help.
Absolutely.
Like they both agree this heart implant's it.
That's what they're putting their chips on as far as like, I mean, and Madeline is as well. Like that's.
Yeah. That she's like,
man, we need to get this right so we can get it on you. Yeah. And then when it's my time, we'll get it on me. It'll be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and she's still his biggest supporter.
Yeah.
She's still
100%. She's got his back. She's his trusted confidant. You know, they're very close. They got the weird twin thing.
Yep.
Sweet Jules drives up. We see Leo's very hot car.
Very sweet Lamborghini.
Oh, very nice sweet car. Nice cars. We like nice cars. He gets home and the apartment's just trashed.
Opens up the door and is like, oh no.
Disaster.
And it is wrecked.
Yeah.
Wrecked. the walls, the ceiling, everywhere.
Yes.
I think pieces of the floor, like there are just, and you just hear him wailing away.
He's violent. Like he is violently destroying the place.
This would be a terrifying thing to walk into, that your loved one is losing it, and you don't know.
He's terrified. Jules is terrified.
He's very scared.
And he's like,
so.
What's happening? What's wrong?
Yeah, what's going on? What are you doing? And he's just, and you don't see that. He busts through, and there's Verna dead in the wall with the cat with the eyeball.
So that's exactly out of the story of the black cat.
Yep.
So the cat's there with his eyeball hanging out. And then they disappear.
He's like, you don't see that? You don't see that? And he's like, see what? What are you talking about? And he's like, desperately trying to talk.
I don't see it. I don't.
This guy's wielding Thor's hammer, walking around with Mjolnir, and has destroyed their apartment. Just destroyed the place.
And Jules is like heartbroken, trying to figure out what's happening.
Yes, please. What did you get into? What drugs are you on?
I mean, he looks back, and they've disappeared out of the wall. He turns around, and the cat's out on the balcony.
Yep, out on the balcony, out on the railing there, the balcony.
What do?
You gotta go get that cat.
Gotta go get that cat. So he runs out there, swings the hammer, and falls right the fuck over.
Swings for the fences, and man, he takes that tump. And everybody, I would assume, most people when they watch this thought, he's landing on that car.
100%.
Does not land on the car.
Falls right dead next to the car.
Yep, right on the concrete sidewalk.
It is like Chekhov's gun. I was like, he's definitely going to land on that car.
Yeah, they've shown this car many a time. This bright yellow.
Every time I watch it, I think he's going to land on the car.
Me too. Yes, me too. I thought for sure he was landing on that car. I was like, oh yeah, he doesn't. I forgot.
We see, we do see the bathtub completely empty.
Show the bathtub. Nothing in the bathtub. It's clean. There's nothing in there. You go flash to the body, and Pluto shows up.
And it's Pluto. Like
It is Pluto. The collar.
It's Pluto.
It's Pluto. It's the cat. It is the actual cat that's still around.
Fuckery, you guys. Fuckery.
Man. Like I said, this is not my favorite episode, but
when you talk about it, it's kind of like
it sets up so much of everything else that it is. Yeah, it dances around, but there are some moments in there that are amazing, and him losing his shit with that hammer that is genuinely terrifying. If somebody on drugs, you know that they're on something, and what the hell did they get into that has made them smashing this place up, and are they going to beat my brains out with this hammer? Like, what is going to go on? There's some genuine scare in this thing.
Yeah, and it is a lot of setup, but I mean, everything that it's setting up is so worth it.
The payoff for everything.
Plus, I think the payoff at the end of this episode is pretty good.
Yes,
it's
I think so
pretty
too.
solid.
And it gives you everything that you would need, you know?
Yeah.
But he doesn't get offered the, well, you don't need to be here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Doesn't get offered that
chance.
Sure, you don't want another cat, just own up to your shit is the closest thing that he could do.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do that.
Yeah. You could save one of these other cats that are actually going to probably be put to sleep.
Yep, they got a week. But I got a soft spot for the ones that don't got a lot of time. Yeah, the short timers. Not a lot of time left.
That's all of these kids.
That's
all these ushers. They're the short timers.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
So good. So good.
Love it.
So that was the Black Cat.
That was the Black Cat.
The next episode's the Telltale Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm very
excited to talk about that one.
So fucked up. It's so great.
You know, the ride goes very fast from here.
Yeah.
It picks up and it gets to a sprint pretty fast.
Yep. We got a few more episodes ahead of that, but this one was a fun one to discuss and break down.
Yeah.
Just for our listeners, if you follow the Articulate Coven, which is our sister podcast, our daddy podcast, or I guess it's more accurate, our umbrella. Anyway, it's about Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles and all Anne Rice related things like the Mayfair Witches and etc. So check us out there. We've got a couple of movie night episodes coming up soon. We've got we're going to be recording the the Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, so good.
The Demeter.
It's so good.
It is so good. I'm excited.
I love that movie.
Joel hasn't seen it yet, so I'm very excited for him to see it. And then we're going to do From Dusk Till Dawn. Great. So that's coming up as well.
Salma Hayek.
Yes, hot ass Salma Hayek. Woo. Like some of the hot. I don't even care if there's a fucking snake.
No. Nope.
And I hate snakes.
And she's not a snake fan.
Yeah, so that's coming up. And then we'll be finishing up, after the first of the year, we'll be finishing up Blood and Gold. And we'll be getting into the Mayfair Witches, which is going to be starting up in January. So we'll be back soon, very soon, with another episode of Fall of the House of Usher. We'll be talking about my favorite, one of my favorites.
Yeah, That Telltale Heart.
That Telltale Heart.
It's a good one.
The beating of the heart under the floorboards.
Beating that hideous heart.
So I love it. I love it. The whole opening line of that is so great. Do you have anything else you want to?
I don't. Thank you for engaging with us. Please blah, blah at us. Tell us if there's things that we didn't notice that you were like, hey, catch up.
Yeah.
We would love to hear from you.
I know there's bigger nerds than us out there. Come on.
Or at least the same size nerds.
Yeah.
As we are.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Get into it. We love the engagement. We want to chat with you, and we'll feature you on the thing. And you guys, it's wonderful. Thank you for watching.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And we'll be back. We'll be back soon.
We sure will.
Telltale Heart.
Thank you for watching Flan-Again, a Mike Flan-Again rewatch from the Articulate Coven. If you want our videos and audio early and ad-free, visit articulatecoven.com/join and join the Coven.